Hello there, friends and sane persons, and welcome to another episode of Wednesday Whimsy. I'm Kyle, and Wednesday Whimsy is a short show that I do every Wednesday evening where I talk about a board game, a top 10, or some other board game topic that I seem to think is interesting for that particular week. This week, I am talking about a game that I got a long time ago, but sometimes, you get a game and for whatever reason, it just doesn't get played. And this game sat out forever. And part of it was that it had all these acrylic standees that I had to put together. And for some reason, those always ship covered in this plastic film that you have to peel off. And if you don't peel it off, then it snaps the bases. So I just, I started doing that and I was like, well, nuts to this. It was also a minis game with a campaign. And I thought, well, I'm not ready for this right now. So I put it off for a good year. This game, sorry, I guess I've got it right here. It is Deliverance. So, Deliverance, how shall I put it? I guess I should just I'll talk about it, tell you what I think. So, first of all, what is Deliverance? Well, it is trying to be a Christian mythology minis game. So you're going to take on the role of a team of angels, and you are going to be fighting against a team of demons. And your goal is, well, there's two ways to play. You can play it either a campaign, where you're going through a story, just like always in a campaign, or you can play it in a skirmish mode, and I've only played it in the skirmish mode. But essentially, you're going to take these angels, and if you are successful in destroying the demons, there's going to be sort of 2 rounds. And if you're successful, you win. And if you're not successful, well, you don't win and you lose. So that's kind of what it is. So yeah, I guess let's just talk about it here. I'm going to see if I can find a picture or two. I've pulled it up here for something else, but Deliverance. All right, so I am going to tell you how does it work. So the core game, and actually I think the best way to show you, there is a board game arena adaptation that's only available in like alpha testing mode or whatever, but I'm part of that. So I'm going to show what I have here, and I can kind of show you a little bit about how the game works. Hopefully, let's see if this will work. All right. So here we kind of have the game set up for a solo game of Deliverance. Not technically, because you're supposed to play with like basically just 2-player. But I have here my angel, who is Michael the Archangel. I've got to show you here. Who's Michael the Archangel, and he has a couple of he has 2 actions he can do every turn. And one of these actions, this advance action, is free the first time he does it. Let's see, so you can see this this symbol here means it's free. So the first time he does it, it's a free action, and that's just going to be to move. He's also got some other attacks, and he's got some stats that he can use, such as he's got, let's see if I can expand this a little bit. So you see he's got he's got 16 life, and he's got these 3 different types of damage he can do. And you'll see he uses the green for this attack, he uses the red for this attack, and he uses the blue for this, which is a healing. So he can use any action, so the free actions he can use as many as he likes, and then he can use some main actions. So he's really got a free move and a couple of main actions. So on my turn, I'm going to choose which actions I want to do. So if I want to advance, that's going to let me move 2 spaces, or 3 if I've got a lot of courage. So I might go 1 and 2, and look, there I go. I have moved up here. And then I'll be able to sort of use an attack. This one here, look, it's going to say, I gain a courage. I'm also going to deal damage to this demon here. I gain a courage. I'm limited to a total of 5 of those. And I can roll a die and potentially get more. If we try it again, you'll see that I do him some more damage. Hey, that's great. And you see now I have enough that I can use this extra free action to sort of, and kill this guy. So basically what I'm doing when I kill him, I'm going to get some experience. And at the end of the turn, if I have enough experience, I'm going to end up able to, I'm hoping that showed. Okay, yeah, I'm hoping, so at the end of the turn, hopefully I will be able to, to level up. And ultimately I'm going to go through after I kill the demons that are showing there. Then I get to do I get to set up a second, how would I say it, a second demon that I'll fight against. And if I beat that demon, and it's some more powerful Prince of Hell, if I beat that second demon, I win the game. And so the parts that I didn't show is sort of what the enemies do. So the way that they work is I'm going to add darkness cards to this track. And I'm going to add one for each angel in the game, plus one more for each of these saints. There's these little blue guys. If these saints are in their oppressed side, which is the blue side up, then I add an extra darkness to them. So I need to try and rush my way out there. And as soon as I'm next to them, if they're not next to a demon, they flip over to their supported side or whatever it's called. And I also get experience for that. And so when this darkness track is full, the next time I have to add a card, well, I'm going to discard a face, or I'm going to flip up a face-up card. And it's going to be some sort of instant or ongoing bad effect. Eventually, when I get the Prince of Hell, it looks like we have here, well, that's a hateful fiend, but there's a bunch of, there's, I think, 6 of these Princes of Hell, and they're going to have their own sort of special darkness, which is stronghold darkness, which you can't get rid of. And ultimately, that's how they're going to activate. When it becomes, so the angels are going to activate, and then a demon's going to activate. Then the angel, then the demons, and it's going to go back and forth like that. Eventually, when these things activate, we're going to roll a die, and it's going to kind of determine what they do. And that's kind of how it is. It's a pretty simple minis game. There's not a whole lot of rules here. It's very easy to learn. And ultimately, you're just going to be having this little skirmish until you get to the end, and if you're successful, you win. And that's how it goes. So what makes it special? Well, first of all, the theme. It is, this whole sort of, they're definitely Bible-inspired angels. I mean, I will acknowledge that only 3 angels are named in the Bible, and only 2 in in sort of the American Bible. The third is Raphael in the Catholic Bible in the Book of Tobit. But so there's only, a couple of really named angels in the Bible, but they're sort of extrapolating and bringing in concepts of these various angels that may sort of come up from Christian traditions. And I think that's kind of fun, right? It's definitely a good versus evil theme, and a lot of people, I think, will really enjoy that. It's easy to sort of root for the angels. That's nice. Another thing is that, it's a simple system, right? You've really got 2 actions on your turn. Sometimes you can spin that into a free action or 2 if you plan your resources well. And that's great, right? It's really nice. It's an easy game to pick up. It's cooperative, so, you can kind of work together and say, all right, well, I'm going to go over here. I want to kill this guy, and we want to sort of make sure we don't have too many demons because they'll come and damage us when we die. That's not good. It is possible to come back, but you have kind of some wasted turns until you're able to. So, you definitely are trying to work together and sort of plan this out to make sure that you're facing as few enemies as possible, but also you don't want to just chew through all the demons, because once that sort of boss demon comes out, the Prince of Hell, it's going to be lots harder. And so it kind of immediately, as soon as the last demon's gone, the round is over. You stop, you do some reset, you get a couple of bonuses, and then you are, it's go time for that sort of second level encounter. So you want to make sure that you're timing that and working together. And it's a very simple system. All of the combat is deterministic. And what I mean by that is, it says I do my green sort of hammer value, that much damage. That's how much damage I'm doing. There's not really a defensive roll. Now, there is some dice rolling that you're going to do. Occasionally, you'll do a test, and you'll roll the dice, and if you get a certain value, you get some sort of bonus or penalty, depending on what it is. And so, but it's definitely, you can always reliably count on the damage you're going to do. There's a lot of status effects, but they're easily summarized on the back of a card. So as an intro to minis game or intro to sort of skirmish game, this is a great one. It's very simple, and it kind of fits. It's not a long game either. I mean, I guess if you played with 4, you're going to have a lot of bad guys, and so it might be a little longer, but for the most part, it's a pretty fast one. If you play it at 1 or 2, it's over in half an hour, and it's a great length. It could even be less. The box says 1 to 2 hours, but I think that's if you're playing a longer campaign scenario or playing with 4 people who don't know what they're doing. So it's fast. The rules are easy. The theme is interesting. Yeah, that's some good things about it. So where's the but? There are a couple of them here. The first of them, I mentioned those tests. The tests, I mean, they add a little randomness to the game, but they're not all that interesting because it's almost always roll a 7 or roll an 8. And, it's never like, there's sort of some swing for the fences moment. It's going to be, okay, I rolled a 7 and I healed 1 damage, or I did 1 extra damage, or something like that. And so the tests themselves start to feel a little bit monotonous. And so it's very deterministic. So, I mean, on one hand, you can count on it reliably, but it also means that there's never really any stand-up excitement moments where you put it all at risk and, either win or lose. So, you got to kind of know about that. Secondly, the rules aren't amazing. There's a lot, when I read through the rules, things are organized in a weird way, and I'm sure it made sense to someone, but you really have to kind of jump around a lot to figure out how things work. Some things weren't particularly clear. There's a lot of kind of gray areas. So that definitely could have been improved. I think my biggest issue, though, is that I find the art kind of ugly. I mean, the angels are okay, and art is subjective, of course, but I found them to be okay at best. But some of them have this weird style. I mean, it's almost like if you're familiar with like the Watchtower or those Jehovah's Witness magazines where they have like taken a photo and kind of painted over the top, and I just didn't like it. It really felt it was kind of jarring to me. So I kind of thought the game looked a little not quite ugly, but the art was okay at best and off-putting at worst. So there's just a couple of characters that are really very unpleasant to look at. So there's that. Also, there's these sin cards, these darkness cards, and they're all kind of based on a sin. So, like, you'll flip one over, and it's suicidal thoughts. Well, great. You'll flip another one over, and it is marital infidelity, and it's sort of some kind of more morally bad thing from kind of a sort of centrist Christian viewpoint, but it doesn't. The title doesn't have any effect. It's like, okay, suicidal thoughts. Well, now the angels are going to lose 1 courage, or take a damage, or roll a die, and every time this happens, something bad's gonna happen. It's always some sort of minor effect. I mean, it's a major effect, but it's never really thematically connected with what it's supposed to be. And I kind of found that was lacking. I thought those darkness cards could have been more interesting if there was really some thought put on them rather than just insert sin or insert negative thing here and then put in negative effect. And they're kind of ugly. They're just sort of dark and boring. So some of the visual design I didn't love. But that's kind of it. One thing I did love though is there's something I didn't talk about it when I was talking about how the game plays, but you can pray. It's an action you can always do. It gives you a courage and it lets you draw a prayer card, which are usually pretty good. They're going to range from really good to situationally good. And then you'll roll some dice and maybe be able to take out a darkness card or bring somebody back or heal something or get a boon. There's sort of some bonus you can get from rolling well as well. But these prayer cards, I think they're all unique, at least on the back, and they all have a different sort of Bible verse on them, which is kind of nice, right? I feel like there was a lot of effort put into the prayer cards, but these darkness cards, there was really none put in. And I kind of felt that was disappointing. Sorry, another special thing. On the back of each angel, and this is actually a big thing, so it tells you sort of the history or sort of where the angel was inspired from, and then also some suggested kind of ways for your upgrades and how to play with the angel. But when you do these upgrade cards, that's actually really interesting because each angel has its own specific set. So it's got some tier 1s, tier 2s, and tier 3s, and you'll get a tier 1 upgrade, then a tier 2 and a 3. There's also some heavenly treasures, which are just kind of some random cards you'll draw, and they'll improve a stat or two and give you some sort of bonus or some sort of penalty, but always with some sort of stat boost. So, you can improve those stats so you're doing more damage. But I really like, and that part's okay, but the sort of the individual upgrade cards, they're tied to the angel. They're going to let them sort of build themselves into a powerhouse in some sort of way. Like Michael, he'll get courage every turn, which he needs to sort of activate his big attack. Or there's one, the angel of death. I forget his name. Uriel, maybe. I don't know these names. But no, Uriel was the fire angel. Anyway, there's an angel of death, and his ability is he can move through people, and then he can like sicken them and kind of plague them. And it really kind of, as you sort of improve these abilities, it's going to kind of make your angel feel unique. Now, the game's pretty short, so you don't feel unique very long, but after you sort of get into it, you get kind of an interesting character that can do a lot of things. Anyway, I kind of went back and forth on this one. I really do enjoy it, and I love the Board Game Arena version. It's kind of, it's still a little rough, I'll say that, but it's a great way to kind of see how the game works if you wanted to try it before you bought it, and hopefully it'll kind of come all the way out soon so that anybody can play it. I think I'd give this one an 8 out of 10. So it's good. I like it. I'll try the campaign if, maybe I can convince Victor or someone to play it with me. I'm not sure. I have enough campaign games that I'm not sure I need to jump into this one. I think the skirmish mode is perfectly satisfactory. I think I might, there's ways to make it a little harder, which I might eventually try because I found it, manageable the times that I played it. But I enjoyed it. I will say, again, some people will say, okay, it's a religious theme. I don't want to deal with that. And that's okay, right? You do you. I'll say that the religious nature of it is not as strong as I think the publisher thinks it is, right? There are those sins, but they don't tell you anything about them. There are the scripture verses on the prayers. That's the most religious thing. And then it's, angels fighting demons. But again, it's 2 angels that show up in the Bible and a bunch of others that have been pulled from various traditions. So it's not really like a missionary effort in this game. It's something, you can get in if you were opposed to Christian religious symbols. Well, okay, maybe don't play, but it's not like as heavy-handed as some games might be. So I think you can get in there regardless. And if you like that kind of stuff, like I do, well, that's a bonus. Anyway, 8 out of 10. I think it'll work well with families with older kids, maybe. Maybe young teenagers, I think would enjoy this. Church groups, of course, and anyone who really wants kind of an intro to minis and skirmish games. This is a good one. I think it's simple enough, approachable enough, yet has enough there to explore that makes it sort of not feel like you're just rolling dice and seeing what happens. There's definitely some thought that's put into it. There's an expansion coming out eventually. I'm excited to see what that brings. Hopefully it'll be more stuff, because more stuff's always great. Anyway, that's what I've got for you today. 8 out of 10. Try before you buy. It's, it might not be for everyone, but I was pleasantly surprised by it, and I'm sorry that I took a whole year after getting it to get it to the table. But hey, now I've done it, I've played it several times, and I really liked it. So 8 out of 10. Anyway, that's going to do it for us this week. I am going to come back and see you again next week. I don't know what my topic will be. I might talk about the Dice Tower Retreat because that's where I'm going to be this weekend. We'll see how I feel. Anyway, though, until then, I'm going to wish you safe travels, courage when you need it, and I will see you back again next time on another episode of Wednesday Whimsy. Bye-bye.